I get a mic?
I'm going to give you a mic, but I'm going to lay down the ground rules, Dave, before we start over here.
How are you?
Good.
I know. Even for you, I'm laying down the ground rules.
Yeah, it's a good idea, no? Like, we're only 22 hours into this.
Irv, you can take it right next to you. Right from it.
Yeah.
I'm used to a megaphone, by the way, just so you know.
I just gotta do it. I'm just gonna take it.
Yeah.
Where are you? Give it to her.
Did we each get a mic?
Irv's going to be moderating. I'm just going to give a 2-minute and two-minute introduction. Okay, welcome everybody. About 4 years ago, on November 6, 2022, we started a committee, an organization, a nonprofit called SY Israel. We got together at Knesset Adis in Jerusalem with people who've made Aliyah all over Israel from the community, and we formed this organization. And now 4 years later, we have this wonderful panel here. I'll introduce them in a minute. Our motto at the time was to change the conversation. The words Aliyah, Ranana, Modi'in, they were not in the vocabulary of the community. I don't even think most people knew where they were. 4 years later, the conversation has changed tremendously. Some of it from a lot of videos by special influencers that we have here in the room, and some by the events of October 7th. But I think even the events of October 8th have changed the way people are looking at living, moving, or eventually coming to the state of Israel. And I do understand that our goal is to inspire and educate people about the process. Today, what you're going to hear with Irv as the moderator, you're going to hear all the questions and answers you may have had about Israel as if you are going to move somewhere down the road. Our goal of our committee was to create a scenario that the questions that you're thinking about have people who are living it and came from the community. I'm happy to say 4 years later, after forming this committee, one of the proudest moments took place about 2.5 months ago, 3 months ago. We have 8 new families making Aliyah to Israel next year, moving to Israel, 7 to Ranana and 1 to Alon Shvut. And we have a chat with our committee and those 8 families regarding any questions they may have, from cell phones to renting a house. And I'm happy to say that those 8 families all have places to live. All from our committee, helping each and every one secure every detail, from the basic paperwork to the bigger questions that they may have, family, and the transition to school and all of that. I'd like to give shout outs, but maybe I'll leave that to Irv to after for some of the families that are in the crowd here today. But for now, I want to pass it on to Irv. I want you guys to hear from the families that have moved, some 10 or 15 years ago, some just a year ago. I want to pass it on to Irv. He's a musician. He is opening up a food cart in Ranana next year. Oh, it's not a surprise to them. They're not coming yet. And he is going to take over. We really prepared for this, and we hope that you are very well informed. And we hope we inspire you to think about this a little bit more, because the conversation has really changed.
All right, what's up, guys? How we doing? How's everyone feeling? Yeah, I'm happy someone can hear me. That's good. All right, here we go. So, thank you, David, for that great introduction. Everyone, give a round of applause for David. Screaming loudest about Israel for the past 5 years. We love you. Very good. Okay, so I'm Irv Safdieh, and my wife Paulette. We made Aliyah last year, just under a year ago. Our Aliyah anniversary is August 20th. So we're coming up on it. And we got this great panel. And I'm really going to stop wasting words because we got a lot to cover over here. We got to get you guys out, I think, at 6:30. Okay? So with that being said, we're all friends here, so I'm just going to be honest that I'm going to cut you guys off whenever needed to keep things moving. We have some great topics, great conversations. Rafi doesn't look so happy that I'm about to cut him off. It's okay. Don't worry. Love you, Rafi. But something really exciting also is we actually have some of the kids that are going to actually speak a little bit towards the end as well. So we're really excited about that. But without further ado, the first question that I want to open up to the panel over here is tell us a little bit about yourselves, where you live now, where you came from, when you made Aliyah, the ages of your children, and if you had one word or phrase that describes what you expected versus the reality, please share that with it here, okay? So basic introduction, we're not going too deep into anything over here. Let's start from the Chemtobs. Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rafi Chemtob. My wife is Sari, sitting right next to me. We have 5 children, from currently 22, 19, 16, 13, and 10, right? 4 boys and 1 girl. My girl is the second. She's 19 years old. We made Aliyah 8 years ago, July 2nd, 2018, which is really early. We were the first from the new wave of community members to make Aliyah. We just did it because we didn't have this whole thing planned out about sending everybody and bringing everybody with us. We live in Ra'anana, and if I could summarize one word, that what I expected. I'm gonna get into the specific reasons of why we made Aliyah, but I expected to be able to live comfortably with my family, and it's exactly what we got, was exactly that.
Sherry?
I'm good. No, he got it covered.
Joey Shabot and Sari Shabot Arking. We made Aliyah in 2011, so I guess that we're like the oldest ones here, or the oldest in Israel at least. We had, our kids at that time were 6 or 7 years old, our oldest was, I think, right? He was going into first grade, and we came with 4 kids, and our youngest was a newborn. He had just been born like 3-4 weeks before we came. We then had 2 more kids in Israel. Our kids today our oldest is 21, and we have basically they're spaced about 2 years evenly apart. So our youngest now is 10, 11, and it's intense. It's intense to have raised kids in Israel, have even 2 kids who were born in Israel, and definitely still keeping a foot here and is identifying as Syrian Sephardic there and here. And we look forward to sharing more thoughts with you about that. We live in Modi'in, and when we moved, Ra'anana, it was not yet a thing. You hadn't made it that thing, and the Dwex, who have made it even more of a thing, hadn't yet done it. So maybe we would have chosen to go there if we had come after. But actually, we chose Modi'in, and we really love Modi'in. It was a really great choice for us. I think we'll talk about that more later as well. And then one word. What we were thinking would happen is adventure. That was what we were looking for. That's what we were hoping would happen. And the reality is?
I would say depth.
Depth.
Hi guys. My name is Ricky Schweky. It's my wife Millie. Can you hear me? There we go. Okay. We moved in June 2023 to Ra'anana. At the time, our kids were babies. My son was 2 years old. We had decided that we wanted to move before our kids got big. That was like one of the big driving factors for us. So yeah, we moved to Ra'anana. Now our kids are 5 and 3. And I would say our biggest fear of moving to Israel was that it would be pretty difficult. And I'd say that it's been exactly the opposite. Very smooth, very easy. It's amazing to be there, so yeah.
Hi, I'm Paulette, like Irv said. We moved to Ra'anana from Deal exactly a year ago. Our kids are 13, 10, and 8 years old. And can you hear me? Yeah? Okay. I think what we expected was just like the Shabbat said, we were expecting an adventure. That's definitely what we got. I think maybe the reality was more of like a roller coaster, if you like roller coasters.
Excellent. Okay. So I just wanted to make one quick observation as I was looking to the crowd. I think it's amazing how many young people there are here. I think it's really cool. Okay. So this first block of questions, we're going to talk about the decision to make Aliyah. I have a couple of questions that I'm going to direct towards the new Olim, and then some questions that we're going to direct towards the veteran Olim. So for the new Olim, let's start with the Schwekys. You guys ready for this? Millie, you ready? Are we going to hear from you today?
Yes.
All right, just making sure. Okay.
Millie's got a lot of questions planned.
Okay, so it's a two-part question. Why Aliyah? Why now? It's a three-part. Why Aliyah and why now? And was there a specific moment when the decision became real? Go.
Okay. So I'm going to start. So we'd always spoken about Aliyah. I spent a year in Israel. I loved being there. I just felt like I was connected. And once we started dating, we always spoke about it. Millie also did a year in Israel and wanted to move to Israel. We weren't sure when. It was just something that was a conversation all the time. One year we decided, okay, Millie said, let's move in September. And I was like, that's crazy. We're just going to move, just uproot and go. So I said, why don't we do a pilot trip? Why don't we go for a summer, see if it's really a viable option for us, and see if we really want to be there. So that's exactly what we did. We spent 6 weeks in Israel, a week in the north, 5 weeks in Efrat. We went around every Shabbat to a different family, different place, Modi'in, Beit Shemesh. We were in Tzfat, we were in Efrat, we were in Yerushalayim. We just sort of wanted to get a feel of what it's like to live, what people do there, how people experience life there. And we fell in love. Like, we were convinced. Coming out of the summer, we knew it's what we wanted to do. We knew we could build a life there. We saw people are doing it and it's viable. And we made a decision that we're gonna work it out and come the following June. So that was kind of the story of how we decided to get there. We always wanted to, and that was kind of what pushed us. And then it was all the logistics of getting there, which everyone will go into detail. I'm going to pass to Millie to talk about.
What was the second part of the question?
What specific moment made it feel real?
Okay, so we did our pilot trip, right? It was like, what did we do, July, August? It was July, August, and I said, okay, we're not going to Brooklyn. We're not going back until we know when we're coming back. Like, I'm not getting on a plane.
We came to your house
Yes.
that August, right?
That was the year after.
Oh, it was the year after? Okay.
Yeah, but I think we ran into you maybe in Mamilla. I don't know. So anyway, I was like, we're not going home from this pilot trip until we have a plan when we're coming back. I literally opened the calendar, said this is the date, June whatever, and we booked a flight within 3 days of that range. I just was like, we need to have a plan. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love it. Here, Paul.
So I guess for us, a little similar to the Shwekys, but also a little different. For us, it was never really a conversation moving to Israel until a few years ago. It was never something we spoke about. But after COVID, when none of us were able to get into Israel, Irv and I kind of felt this pull to be there, because we couldn't be there for so long. And so like the Schwekys, we decided to spend the summer. It was very scary giving up my spot in Camp All Sport, I'm just saying. But we did it. I cried hysterical. That was probably the hardest I cried. I was hanging up with Norma, not gonna lie. So we gave up the spot and we went for the summer, and it ended up being the best decision. We went for another 2 summers after that. And really, every time we went, it just got harder and harder to come back here. We have the best life here, but I'm sure a lot of people sitting here could relate to that feeling of that pull. It just pulls you back. The more time you spend there, the more you want to be there. And then really after October 7th, it just magnified everything and all those feelings, and we made the decision to go.
And just, I guess, one point about October 7th was, I think one of the reasons why it got so magnified is because you felt so connected to what happened. And I remember a few weeks afterwards, you're so in shock, and you would go out to the grocery store and the world would be just moving on, and nobody would sense it. And it was a really kind of surreal feeling being here. And then, you go to Israel 3 years later, when all the hostages are already come, but they're still feeling it, they're still talking about it, even despite the fact that it's, everyone's back home. So just kind of a continuation on the October 7th piece. What was the moment that really made it feel real? We had to make a decision about registering for Hillel. And Paulette told me, she's like, we should do it. We should just register just in case. And I said, okay, fine, I'll do it just in case. And I went and I saw there was like $5,000 to register. And I said, okay, I registered them. But I didn't really register them. And so I don't think that really became real for you for a while, but that became real for me, I would say probably the December before. Okay, so the vets. We're talking about the decision to move. This is going back a little bit further. So you also have a 3-part question. I don't even know how many parts, it's a lot of parts, so try to put it together. Here we go. So what drove your decision when you made Aliyah? Looking back, would you have done anything differently, being vets now? And then let's talk about, because you guys really were like the pioneers of your respective areas, Ra'anana, Modi'in. So if you could touch a little bit on why you chose those areas. You mentioned, Joey, that you didn't want to move to Ra'anana because Ra'anana wasn't a thing, but what drove you to Modi'in as opposed to like Efrat or Yerushalayim or something like that?
So we divided this question in advance, so I'll talk about the first part first, about the timing. I was, I think, 33 when we moved, and it felt right professionally. Like I was sort of at the cusp of, being, I was not very junior at my job. I'm a lawyer. I was not very junior at my job, but I also wasn't so senior that it would be hard to move. I was sort of at the stage where you can still have a degree of mobility, and that seemed like important because that window closes, I think, as you get more senior in any job that you're in, at least if you're a professional. Then it was also, I think, also the right time in your life to take a risk, right? Similar, when you're very young, I think it's a little harder, although people do it, but it's a little harder because you don't really know what you're stepping into professionally as much. When you're much older, the risk that you're taking is much bigger. But if you're we felt like we were at the sweet spot of being able to take a risk, both professionally, but also in other ways, like to try something. And if it doesn't work, so we can always go back. Like our kids weren't so old yet that it would have made a big difference for them.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You have a lot of Arkings in Israel. Were they there at the time, or were you the first?
Great question. No, mostly they were not there at the time. Some of them had been. Our great ancestors, Joey and Katie Harari, were there, and that was like for sure a huge draw for us. Sari's sister Michal was living in Efra, and Michal and Abraham Kopit, and so they were there. And she has a lot of sisters and brothers, so there are a lot of Arkings, but 2 of them were living in Israel at the time. Yvonne and Amir Cohen had also just moved a year before we decided to move, but they were living in Jerusalem, and the Kopits were in Efrat. So it wasn't driving the Modi'in thing, but it did help that there was family there. And in fact, one of the things that made us choose Modi'in over places like Zichron and Ra'anana, which we looked at and ruled out, was proximity to family in Jerusalem and in the Gush, and also proximity for me to Tel Aviv because I needed to be in that scene. But anyway,
just one point on that, because I think a lot of people think that because you're in Israel, you're in close proximity to one another, and if you're in Modi'in and Yerushalayim, you can go a year without seeing somebody. Just because you're in Israel doesn't mean that
you're talking to a guy who lives across the street from his in-laws, and a 5-minute walk from another one of my wife's siblings, and another 6-minute walk from
But I'm talking
another
about
one.
Before.
Before, yeah, it was. We would see each other a lot. I mean, we would make a point of it, and I think every family is different, but our families are very close. And my parents, for example, would come in twice a year and spend 3-4 weeks at a time with us. At the time, Sari's family, before the rest of them moved, the ones that were there, very, very close and spent all the holidays together and much time besides that, birthdays, anniversaries, just every day, barbecues, summer, what else? A lot of other things. And then as they moved, we spent a lot of time with them. So anyway, I've dominated too much of the time, but that's why the timing felt right. The kids weren't so old, like it felt like we could still change our mind if we wanted to. Go ahead. You have what to say?
We want to hear from you, Sari. Come on.
To be honest, we as a couple never spoke about Aliyah when we were going out or in the early years of our marriage, and it sort of came on suddenly. We came to Israel for a summer to visit my sister Michal, and we loved it, but it's vacation. Everybody loves vacation, And when we came back, it was, like Joey said, he was sort of at this inflection point at work, and we sort of took that as an opportunity to come to Israel and try it out. And one of the questions was, would we do things differently? And I would say no. I think we did things that it was really right for us the way we did it. We set everything up to be able to go for a year. We told ourselves and everyone else that we're going for 1 year to try it out. And I think if you asked us at the time, we would have told you that we're almost for sure coming back. Like, why would we stay in Israel? But we went, and it was low risk. Our oldest was going into first grade, and the way, looking back, the way everything fell into place, you know, like at the last minute, how we were able to rent a furnished apartment in Israel, we were able to rent out our apartment here and sell our car, and everything really, really fell into place so well that it almost felt like Hashem was swooping us up and helping us get there. And it felt right then, and it still feels right today, and I wouldn't do anything differently. And the trial year was also, instead of doing a pilot and thinking about it, meticulously planning for a long time, it was maybe 6 months from when we decided to try this out to when we got up on a plane with our 4 kids. No, it was about 6 months maybe. And the trial year, I think, was sort of our pilot trip. So by the end of the year, I felt like we were able to make an active decision about whether we wanted to stay or not with enough information. And we made that active decision to stay in Israel and to plant our seeds there and grow our roots.
We're not big planners. I think everybody has to be aware of what they're like. Some people, I get calls from people all the time, like all kinds of people, like especially lawyers, the young ones, and they're like, oh, I want to do this. In 3 years, I have a plan to make Aliyah. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, who thinks 3 years ahead? But that's how some people think. And other people are just like, no, I can't commit. Like, if I commit, it's too scary. And that's what it's like for us. If we had told people we're moving, it would have been too hard. Like, for us, I think my mother would have like had a nervous breakdown. Like, it wouldn't have worked. So it helped to sort of like break it up into bite-sized pieces.
Chemtob, what do we got? You want me to repeat the question?
Please, yes.
Okay. So what drove your decision when you made Aliyah? Looking back, would you have done anything differently? And why'd you pick Renana?
So my wife and I are married about 24 years. And since the first day I married her, I told her, let's move to Israel. Not seriously. I was never serious about it. A few years before we moved, my brother moved. My brother studied medicine in Israel, got married in Israel, and came back here to do his residency, lived here for a few years, and then moved back. And after a few very, very good years in business, I had a few very bad years in business, which really put a lot of pressure on me personally and on my family. And I started talking to my brother. I said, okay, what does this cost you? What does that cost you? What does this cost you? And I realized that I could really be very comfortable there. And I had my brother there. So that was the primary decision. Besides everything else that came along with it, I think my wife wants to.
No, just to say that to add to, he used to ask me like every 2 or 3 years, let's move to Israel. And sometimes the answer would be, no, not now, it's not the right time. And sometimes the answer was, oh, well, if we could find a community like what we have in Brooklyn, or if we have schools like what we have in Flatbush, or like it was not this year, maybe next year. It was always like some version of not a no. I was open to it. I wasn't like, no, leave me alone. I'm never moving to Israel.
If he never brought it up, would you have ever thought about it?
Me, no. He was definitely the force that was moving us to Israel. And then why Ra'anana? We went to see, at the time we only knew of Ra'anana and Modi'in. We had friends. Amir and Yvonne. Amir was working with Rafi at the time, so he was sitting on the beach during the day and then getting on the calls in the afternoon with Rafi, and he's like, why can't Shari? Amir is on the beach. Why can't I be on the beach? So we went to see Modi'in, and we went to see Ra'anana, and I just clicked when I got out of the car, and we were on Achuza, which is like the main street with all the shops and all the restaurants and everything, and I got out of the car and I looked at Rafi, and like in 30 seconds I was like, I could live here. And he goes, Sherry, we didn't even walk away from the car. What are you saying? You could live here. I go, there's so many different kinds of Jews. There's people with tzitzit and kippot and wigs and half sleeve covered and pants and shorts and exercise clothes, and everybody is just coexisting so calmly and so nicely, and look at the action and the foot traffic, and I could just live here. I could see myself here. And he goes, okay, great, because my brother lives right in Kfar Saba, 5 minutes away. That was really also a major draw why Ra'anana and not elsewhere was because when we thought about it, we said, yeah, if every time we have to plan, it's a 45-minute drive, it's so much easier to just be close. That was the only family we had there at the time. Since his mother has also made Aliyah and my parents made Aliyah to Ra'anana. But at the time, he was it. So we're like, okay, we love Ra'anana. And of course, it's an Anglo town that has ulpans in the school, and they know how to cater. They have ulpans for the adults.
Sherry, can you tell them what ulpan is?
Okay, so an ulpan is like a school that helps you learn Hebrew and Israeli society, and it's geared for olim. It's an absorption, but not just absorption center. It's a, I don't know, you did ulpan. I didn't do ulpan. You know better than me.
But I think when you're talking ulpan, you're talking with your kids specifically,
I'm talking about
right?
specifically in the schools, in the elementary schools, in the high schools. They have programs even after school for learning Hebrew, for new olim. I remember my son was in kindergarten, and they had programs for going into first grade to help them like boost their Hebrew. And it's just, they know what olim need, that extra. There are towns in Israel, not just Ra'anana. Modi'in is definitely one of them. There are a few towns that are like, they have a base for olim. They have a support. The city council, let's say, is multilingual, and they have different, they understand. Different people come from all over. It's not just an Israeli mentality. It's also a world mentality. So that for us was really, between that and the proximity to my brother-in-law, was great.
Yeah, one thing that, one of the questions was, and I don't know if I should say this, one of the questions was, what would you do differently? And I think for anybody who is really seriously considering Aliyah, don't tell anybody until you need to tell someone. Everybody, I see all the olim are laughing, but there's the reason for saying that.
Keep it quiet as long as possible. We won't tell anybody you came to this talk.
We didn't even tell ourselves.
Take names.
Yeah.
But I didn't know we were answering the Modin Ra'anana question. Do you want me to elaborate? Because I only said it in one sentence. I was planning to say more, but
I think
it's covered.
I think
Modin,
Modin,
you guys get it. Why Modin?
You want to give us a 15-second soundbite?
I think it's important because, like, number one, Modin is it's a beautiful new city. It's a fully planned city. It did not exist 30 years ago. Different from many other places in Israel that I was familiar with. I'd never stepped foot in Modin before deciding to live there. And when we drove in for the first time, I was like, wait, this place is so well organized and it's so clean and there's all these parks everywhere and there are no stores anywhere, which is what you didn't like. But I do like, because you have to drive to the stores because it's a planned city. So the stores are all concentrated in one or two or three areas, like in shopping centers within neighborhoods. And otherwise, it's just like, there's no reason to kind of like be making noise out on the street. You get in your car, you go to where you need to go, and then you come back. And except for the kids who play outside a lot in a lot of the parks. So we love that about Modin. And the American community there is also a big draw. Not Sephardic, except for our family and a few other families. The sons are there and a few other families. But still, like, the American community is very supportive of one another, and we're members of that shul. There's like 700 families that are members of the American shul in the neighborhood that we live in, and they are just incredibly supportive of each other. There's every imaginable thing that you might need, like an English-speaking, physical therapist. Like in a second, you can find somebody, or a doctor who's a specialist in that, or somebody who's willing to help you in a particular situation. There's such a tightness. It's not a substitute for this community, very different, but still that in Modin is very strong and has kept us there, and we really love it.
Great. Okay, so now let's move on to the first years. So we're going to talk to our newer olim over here. We're going to start with Paulette this time around. So the questions are, what was harder than expected, easier than expected, and when did you first feel that the move was starting to work? I would like both spouses to answer both questions, so let's just keep it tight over here. Okay, go. Oh, I should start. I have the microphone. That's a good idea. Okay, so what has been harder than expected? For me, I think it was just building a network. So friends, colleagues, just trying to find a new gym to go to. And I think what's been a little bit more difficult than I expected is that at the end of the day, you're an immigrant. When you move from Brooklyn to Deal, you're moving to an area that, we moved from Brooklyn to Deal, in case anybody didn't know. So we moved from Brooklyn to Deal, and you're starting over in a sense, but you still have a connection. There's still a lot of familiarity with everything that you have, especially because we lived here in the summer times. You move to Israel, you go to the gym, nobody speaks your language. By the way, it turns out everybody spoke the language, and nobody wanted to speak English. That's what really happened. And you're trying to make new friends, and same thing like in your workplace. Also, you're trying to make new friends, and I think it was a little more difficult for me because, and for New Olim, is because your cultural differences they're really magnified. And you come from a certain background, they come from a certain background, and everybody's very friendly, they're very nice, they want to get along, but it takes a little bit longer than expected, I think, to build more like deep-seated relationships and connections. What was easier than expected? The kids. That was an amazing thing. We were very concerned about the kids and how they were going to adapt, and we found that they really adapted fairly quickly. And when did we first feel that the move was starting to work? For us, for me, it was when we started to have fun. So I would say by like February, I had finished Ulpan. I started getting on a good work schedule. And then Paulette also was starting to figure out her life, like her schedule and the way that she was managing her day. And we started going out on Tuesdays. Every Tuesday, I would start work late, and we'd go on a hike, and we'd go to wineries on every Tuesday. We would try to go. And I looked at Paul, like at the end of February. I'm like, wow, okay. All right, I think we made it. Like, we're not running back to Renana to take care of any emergencies. Emergencies come up, but it felt that it was starting to click. Go.
For me, I think the hardest, what was it? Harder than expected?
Harder, easier, and
harder. So I think what was harder than expected was keeping up with school WhatsApp chats in Hebrew. No, seriously, I got migraines from the Hebrew messages coming up on my phone. You're figuring out what's on the lunch menu tomorrow, and they have to wear a white shirt on Friday, and my brain, I think that was very hard. It's still hard. And what was easier than expected, so I think before we moved, I would ask people who live there already, what do you do all day? They're like, oh, I go out for lunch with my husband. I was like, that's not going to work. I love Irv, but I don't know, we can't be together all day. But it ended up being very nice. I think that the way we live, I mean, we're fortunate because Irv is working American hours, so he's around during the day, but our life here in Deal was a great life, but you don't get the best of each other. He would come home at 7 o'clock. I'm tired from dealing with the kids. He's tired from work, and you don't get the best of each other. But the way we're able to live in Israel now is very nice, and I'm very grateful for it. That I feel like we got the best of each other. But the kids go off to school, and you're able to sit down, have breakfast together, just be slow, go for a hike, and not every day, but. I do find that every day we're able to get in a little bit of time together that we definitely did not have here. So, and everyone's nodding, so I guess you guys feel the same. And it was also easier having the kids around. They get out early in school. I kind of don't want to tell you what time because
don't do it.
I won't do it. If you're serious, then come talk to me. They get out early, and I was nervous for having them around all day. But the truth is, it opens up opportunities for your family life that you would never have here, and you have this time with your kids and your spouse and your family that it's very hard to. It was hard for me to imagine it being. I was nervous to share my time. I don't know, but it ended up being a great thing, I think, for all of us. And I think. When did it start working? I think you summed that up. When we started to have fun, I think it was 5 months in. Not to say that there weren't fun moments in the first 5 months, there for sure were, but definitely got a little more consistent about 5 months in.
Okay, so for me, I want to pick up off what Paulette and Irv said, sort of on the easier part, and then I'll go to the harder part. So I'll switch the order. So for me, the easier aspect of moving to Israel, I would say socially was very smooth, a lot smoother than I had hoped. And I think kudos to David Dweck because the shul contributed a ton. I think for all of us in Renana, to have the shul is tremendous. Shabbats are amazing. We have the best kiddushim. We just have fun with each other and amazing kids program. Our kids love it. David's a parasha teacher. So, no, but really, socially it's been very smooth, and I think that was a big concern. You're moving to a new place. you don't know the people, you don't know what to expect, and that was great. And to speak to Irving's point, Paulette's point, is that work-wise, the dynamics shift completely. I'm working an American job, so really I choose my hours. I make sure I align with America a decent amount throughout the week, but at the same time, I do my thing. I have time to learn, I have time to play tennis, I have time to do a lot more things, spend time with my wife, come home early to be with the kids. And when I was working in Brooklyn, it was, go to shul, go to work, come home, maybe you'll see the kids, maybe you won't. Like, it's just very tight and a rigid schedule, and I feel it the summer. Every time I come to Deal, I feel the same way. I wake up, I go to shul, kids go to camp, I don't see them. It's different, and the dynamic there is very good in that way. What's more difficult, and has been consistently, unfortunately, is the war aspect. We moved June 2023. October was the start of the war. Anybody who knows us that was there, we totally missed the warning, the siren. We slept right through it, and we got to shul, and it was like, did you guys go to the mamad? Or like, what are you talking about? Like, and they're like, yeah, well, this is a thing that you got to get used to in Israel. We did get used to it. You do get used to it, but it is difficult. I think it's a reality that should be addressed. Bezrat Hashem, it should be finished, but at the same time, it is hard. It's hard for the kids. Thank God our kids are very young, so there's a little of naivety that goes there. When we go to the mamad, they think they're getting snacks and candy, and it's fun. But for other people, it's much different. So we're very fortunate. But yeah, that's what I would say is difficult. As far as when it started to click, I think it clicked for us pretty quickly. I'll say within a few weeks, like we got there and we just felt great about being there. We were welcomed very nicely by the community that was there already. And it just jived very quickly for us, so yeah.
Okay. What did I say? I don't know. I'll start with what was easy. I didn't know what to expect going into it. I was just really scared. I had just had a baby. My baby was 5 months old, and I was just honestly surviving, trying to pack everything and get there. And it was the biggest exhale when I got there. There were so many people. So just the fact that you moved to Renana specifically, there's a lot of Syrians there. You just have these. We're the youngest right now. So I felt like I had all these adopted aunties and uncles that just took care of me.
There's younger people coming, right?
Yeah. There's young people. There's a lot of families coming in August. I will not be the youngest anymore. But I am the baby right now, and it's very cute to have all the aunties. Everyone really kicks in. It's one big family, so that was a big relief because we don't have family from my side in Israel. My husband has 2 older brothers that live in the north, but they're not part of our day-to-day. It's more we see each other on holidays and birthdays and stuff. But so that was, I guess I expected it to be hard, and it was easy. Listen, I have friends that complain about all the hard things that come with living in Israel, and I never even thought to think about it, but I'm but you get to live in Israel, so it's not actually hard, because look at what you get. It doesn't count. Okay, fine, there's no Amazon, but you get to live in Israel. I don't look at it like that. Oh, it's so hard. And then for what clicked, it really, I felt like we just slid right in. It was kind of crazy, actually. Everyone was oh, are you okay? All the new friends they meet, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Am I not supposed to be okay? Everyone was I don't know. I think because our kids were so young, that actually made it super easy. We had a 2-year-old and a 5-month-old, and they didn't have to adjust. But it was 6 weeks after we moved. We were at a Shabbat lunch with our whole group of friends. That's still our group of friends that we originally made when we landed. And one of the husbands, who's actually Israeli, was wow, you guys are so Israeli. You lived here for so many years. I was we moved a month ago, 6 weeks ago. We just got here. He was he was shocked. He couldn't believe it. Thank God Hashem was with us, and we just slid right in.
So for the vets, we have another set of questions. So you can choose to answer that, or you can answer this. What was the hardest during your first few years, and what felt overwhelming at the time but turned out to be just temporary? So I'm going to leave it up to you to decide.
So
which
we
one you want.
merged those two questions.
Perfect.
In a way, the answer that I'm going to give addresses them both. I'm going to talk about finances because, especially the age that I was at, that we were at, and then also all of us know that it's a big driver of where you decide to live. Is like, how can you earn a living? And I think one of the early anxieties was like, how am I going to earn enough in order to sustain a lifestyle that we would like to have? I was, for my age and, a high earning person in New York before I moved, I wasn't really like willing to completely throw that out the window, although I knew I'd have to probably compromise for something with my job in Israel. And I think in the first year, 2 years, even a little longer, it was a big question mark, like, would it work financially? And the kind of jobs that I was able to find and then to kind of transition and grow into, luckily it worked out very well. And, I took some risks, as I said, and various other things that people do professionally in order to try to make it work. And it worked out very nice. I believe there's a great deal of bracha and a lot of shefa in Israel in a way that it's completely inexplicable and undescribable to anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about. And anyone who lives there, I think, will agree that there's like all these like incredible, invisible forces of good just coming down from everywhere and helping you. So in the end, that turned out to not to have been something to worry about. It is something to think about and to plan for and to concern yourself with, but I need not have been as worried as I might have been in the beginning. So that's my piece.
So for us, what was hard in the beginning, I'm just gonna, because really it's together, was being away from my family. And we're very, very close. We're 4 sisters, and we're like so close. And so that was very hard, was being away from them, but also not being at like all the occasions. And then there was Corona a year and a half after we got there. There was Corona, and that made it worse. We really couldn't come with the quarantines and the flights, and we missed some occasions. So that was hard, harder than expected. But at the same time, in the day-to-day, we didn't feel that it was hard all the time. Like, I don't know, 2 or 3 months in, I remember somebody asking us and saying, oh, you're here 2 months or 3 months? Don't worry, it gets better. I promise it gets better. And I looked at Rafi and I go, it gets better than this? What could get better than this? And really, I don't remember hard, that other than that big hard, that holidays for the first 2 or 3 years, we were also, before my parents came and his mom came, so we were also alone on holidays, and slowly the community grew, so we also had friends. But we had friends, like, not in the community, but it's not the same. You come from different places and you have different experiences and you have different, like, social norms where we're like, oh, of course we do everything together. Other people are like, oh, very nice, nice to see you, nice to meet you. And they were so nice in the beginning. We were part of, we were invited in the Ohalari community, which is the American shul. Every Shabbat we were invited for lunch, and we would meet people at the door. Like, they would call us up and say, hi, we heard you're a new Ole family and that you have a son in X grade, whatever. We also have a son in that grade. Why don't you come for Shabbat? And it was like a good 4 months of Shabbats that we didn't eat home. And they were very welcoming and very warm, but it wasn't the same, like I could call them up and say, hi, let's go for coffee, or do you guys want to go out for dinner? It was a different kind of friendships, but it was very, very, very welcoming and very appreciated. What was the rest of the question? Hard and easy, and...
So hard, easy, and do you want the, when did it feel like the move was starting to work? That was on the New Orleans. You could do when did you feel like it started to work?
Well, it was clicked right away.
Clicked right away.
And what was the other part of the question? If there was the
we had
veteran question, is there anything else in there that we want to answer?
Everyday
No. Well,
What was hardest during your first few years? What felt overwhelming at the time but turned out to be temporary?
That was mine. So, moving to a different country, and all my customers are in the United States. I'm working from 4 in the afternoon till 12 at night, 1 in the morning, which is like 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then I start my day earlier, 2, then at 1, then at 12, then at 10. And then I work through the day, and sometimes I take a nap, and then my son came to me and he's like, Dad, you're not sleeping, you're napping, even at night. And he's right. We'll get to bed at 2 in the morning, wake up at 6 in the morning to go to shul. It's like, that was very overwhelming in the beginning, until I just like woke up and said, what am I doing? This is stupid. I go back. If I continue this, I'd rather go back or work a regular day. So, setting structure around the day of when I'm working, when I'm not, and when I'm not working, I'm really not working. I'm going out, I'm going on hikes. Like what in my first 2 years, I joined a group to go hiking once a month, and then we're going to the beach twice a week. It's a cafe life. So we're in cafes 2 to 3 times a week sometimes. It's just a much more enjoyable. Once you get structure around your day, that was the overwhelming part that just was temporary for me.
Great. Okay, so now quick rapid fire questions for you guys. What small everyday adjustment took longer than expected? All right.
Getting used to listening to the weather. So if you hear about they're all laughing, but in Israel you never get any numbers. Today's going to be hot. Today's going to be cold. Colder
You don't
than
have
normal.
a weather app?
What?
No weather app?
No weather app.
The news when she's giving the weather thing, she goes, today will be warmer than yesterday with a slight increase. By Friday it'll go down and higher than normal or lower than normal. I was like, what's the normal? What am I supposed, what do we, where's the normal?
Because for 4 months in the summer, it's just hot. That's it. That's what you're getting.
Okay, Shabot, what do you got? You can both answer the question, by the way.
Oh, and the freedom of the kids, that took time to get used to. Like till today, I don't let them do all the things that their friends are left to do. I'm still like that American parent, but
I see Joey on that bus all over town. I don't know.
Okay, now he's 11. We're there 8 years. But that letting the string go a little bit.
Yeah.
To me, this is the hardest topic. But you asked, it's a light question, everyday adjustment, but it's the topic that I want to touch on is shul and community, because I grew up, as I think almost all of us did, not just like in the community, but very, very tightly wound up with the shul life, right? Like day after day, week after week, holidays, everything religiously was not just like what's written in halakha and what you do, but also how you do it in our nosach and our tradition and our music, our songs, bakashot, things like that. And when I knew going to Israel that I'd be compromising on that because I wasn't moving across the street from Ades, and even if I were, it's still not the same because it's 50, 100 people and not 600 people in Sharet Zion like saying all the same tune of Okay, Danekad or whatever, right? So it's a different feeling. But my opinions about this have evolved over time.
Joey,
What?
we just got to keep this rapid fire because we have 15 minutes to cover 2 more blocks.
Sorry, so I'll say
rapid
very
fire.
briefly. My opinions have evolved over time, where I now understand that actually it's a blessing that I was given to kind of be invited to think about belonging to a shul and a prayer community as a way of taking part in the next phase of Jewish peoplehood. I no longer think that being Syrian and being in our, nosach is the most important part of the identity of being a good Jewish and religious person. And I believe that is a process that every Oleh family needs to go through in terms of getting comfortable with whatever community they end up being a part of.
Very nice. Much deeper than I expected.
Sorry.
I like it. Good.
Yeah.
All right, Sari, what do you got?
No, I don't.
Oh, same. You're on the same page. Okay.
No.
Millie, what do you got?
No, just to expound on what he was saying, I think it is a mindset shift that you need when you go to Israel. You're not, this community is very ethnocentric, and in a good way. We're very connected to our traditions and our foods and the way we do things and to each other. And when you go to Israel, especially where Modi'in, we're not in Ranana, in a sort of a mini community, you're part of a nation. You're part of a whole kind of people who have different cultures and different ways of doing things. And even to the point where, you sometimes think about who are my kids going to marry? They're probably not marrying Syrian. And I'm probably not going to know the family. They're not going to be 2 degrees of separation away from me. So that's something that it's a mindset shift, I think.
Okay, mine's not that deep. Amazon Prime takes about 5 days, 2 weeks if there's a war. So if you need something, you have to go to the store. Or there's an amazing app called Walt, which is much better than Uber Eats and Instacart. It comes very, very quickly. You can get batteries.
I miss Walt
sugar.
here. I miss it dearly.
America needs Walt. I don't know how they don't have it here. It's very good, but there's no Amazon. So if you need like a specific size container, like you have to get in the car and go to a container store. I really miss that I could walk into a grocery store and buy a salad that's chopped up for me with dressing. And I've been convincing all the stores in my area to start doing it. So if you come, I'm walking so you can run.
I would say one thing I still have a very hard time getting used to is speaking to any Israeli on the phone. I pretty much defer all conversations and pass along logistical activities to my wife for that reason.
What is it?
What's
Longer than expected. I think I was going to say something else, but then Millie reminded me that like randomly things go out of stock. Like it could be because of a war. Like there's no cottage cheese during a war.
Milk,
so that's weird.
Eggs randomly disappear.
Frozen vegetables. Celery has a season.
Celery,
Who knew celery has a season?
You can't make hamid in September. But yeah, so like the fact that random things could just go out of stock for no logical reason.
And buy your meat and chicken a few days before the holiday.
Oh, yes. Plan your holidays.
They run out.
Guys. Yes. Also, you can't buy chicken. When can we buy
Chol
chicken?
Hamoed.
And Muslim holidays.
No, there was a Muslim
The
holiday.
Muslim
You cannot
holidays.
buy chicken.
There's no.
It was only frozen pargiot for about a month or 2 weeks. For me, the adjustment that took longer than expected was having Israeli neighbors. That was a little bit of a challenge. I live here with the deer, whereas in Israel, I put my head on the bed at around 10:30 at night, and that's when everybody walks outside to party. And it happens, I would say, almost every night by us. I don't know about you guys, but...
Come to the...
Ellen knows. We're neighbors, yeah, so she knows the neighbors. Yeah, guys, give it up for Ellen. Ellen ate us. But yeah, Israeli neighbors are something definitely to get used to for sure. Okay, so I planned this very poorly. I have another 2 blocks plus kids, but we have 10 minutes until the kids come on. So, do we want to talk about kids and family, or do we want to talk about kind of what our life today looks like?
Kids and family.
Kids and family. Let's do kids and family. Okay. So we have about 10 minutes before we bring our 4, maybe 5. Where's Sonia? Maybe. We'll try to get you here, Sonia, all right? We'll bring you. Okay, so kids and family. All couples. How did your children handle the transition? What was the biggest adjustment at school or about school? And how are your kids doing now? What helped them settle in? So let's start. Let's switch it up. Let's start with the Schwekys. Go ahead.
Okay, so I said this, I'll say it again. We moved with very, very young kids, so they did not have to adjust. I think that was a big plus. I always feel bad when I talk to my friends who moved with older kids and, oh, this one doesn't like the school and they're like learning Hebrew very slow. Like my kids are. Our kids are Israeli. Like they're Israeli. Even the counselors in camp in Deal are like, what are your kids? They're just built different. Like, yeah, they're Israeli. They're very resilient, thank God. We were nervous about school and the Hebrew, more for our older one who's 2, because he barely knew English, and then we had to put him in Hebrew school, and he was fluent. I would say speaking Hebrew by Hanukkah, fluent by Pesach. He totally walks around. He talks like this, and it's very cute. And I don't know, I love it. I just love hearing the accent. Also, just to note, if anyone has kids that need, I think every kid these days needs services, OT, PT, speech, all that stuff. It's very available in Israel. And I think it actually helped our kids acclimate better because they just feel like they have support there, outside of us.
Beautiful. Great.
Yeah, that's it.
Sarah and Joe, what do you got?
Our kids, again, were little when we came, not as little as hers. Our oldest was going into 1st grade, and they had a relatively smooth transition, I would say. Our oldest was a little shy in school, probably didn't open his mouth for about 3 months, but he was fine.
But he knew the alphabet before the Israeli, because he went to.
He knew how to read, right? He knew how to read, so he's a little bit ahead for his 1st grade. Yeah.
Israel, they don't teach alphabet in kindergarten.
No, how to read.
How to read,
yeah.
and he already knew how to read, so he didn't have the vocabulary, but he knew how to read.
So he kind of had the space in class to pick up the language, and I think our daughter who was going into Gan had a little bit of a harder time, which is a surprise to us. It's always the kids that you think are going to be the smoother transition that isn't. She's very social, and she cried probably every day for about three weeks, but otherwise the transition was fine. The hardest thing, the thing to adjust with the schooling in Israel is that, first of all, you're not paying $30,000, $40,000 a year to the school, so you're not a customer, and it sort of changes your relationship to what you think you can demand from the school and what you think you are expecting from the school. I think the class size in Israel is a big problem. I'm just going to be honest. There's 30 to 35 kids in a class. Just try to picture 35, fourth grade boys and one teacher, or it's one teacher. Sometimes there's a helper. It's not helper. No, my son is telling me there's no helper. One teacher. So that's hard. It's hard, I'm not going to lie. And if you have kids with ADHD, it's even harder. And the last thing I want to say is I think from what we've learned from being in Israel for 15 years and being through the whole school system with our kids, I think the way education in school is weighted in Israel is different. And that's not to say that they underestimate or they don't care less about the education of their kids. It's just to say that it's not like here I feel like you have to go to a very good school and do well in the good elementary school to get to the high school, to get to the college, and it sort of, I feel like in Israel it's not as, it doesn't determine the trajectory of your life and success, the schooling, and there's a lot more leeway, and it's like the land of second chances, where if your kid didn't do so well in high school, did or didn't get a bagrut, which is like a diploma, did or didn't attend so much in high school. Like they're going off to either yeshiva or mechina or some kind of gap year very often. They have the army, and those things mature them and shape them in a way that there's so much time after that to make up and fill in where you need to fill in, and then get serious about your university or your career after that. And you see kids who didn't do well in high school at all, or didn't even attend high school, or things like that, who do very well and do very well for themselves after. So I think it's very forgiving, and it's the land of the second chances, and that's something that we learned through the years of being there.
I'm going to steal that tagline. That's a good one. I like it.
The land of second chances.
Beautiful.
Are we going to have the chance to talk about the army? Because you touched on the army.
We have a guy about to go into the army. He could talk about it a little bit.
No, from a parent's perspective.
Yeah. Let's jump to the Chemtovs to answer that question. Go ahead.
So as far as the school, I agree a lot with Sari that it's not so serious. There's two subjects that are like important, that you get yourself your head on straight, you get the tutor for what you need to get through those subjects and to do well in them. And then everything else is math and science. And then everything else is softer and a softer touch, and it's more about the whole child and the midot and the chesed that they're doing in the school. Okay, so they didn't know every parasha. They don't know, actually they do know the parashiot by heart, but whatever, they're not as all day long. And but for his transitions, when we first got there, the three older ones, we came with an my son just finished 8th grade, a daughter going into 7th grade, and a son going into 2nd grade, and then I had a son that was going into kindergarten, and a 2, almost 3-year-old. So that the youngest one was like Millie said, they zoomed right in, and he did great. My kindergarten and my older kids also did really great. Flatbush prepared them very well for Hebrew, and they did great. And then the one that was in kindergarten, he had the hardest time because there's no ulpan, which is that, take you out of the class and teach you Hebrew and put you back in. He didn't speak Hebrew, and he knew that the other kids didn't understand him, and he didn't understand them. And I think that was very hard for him, and that took time to get over. But now he's just as Israeli as all the rest of them. And as far as school options, my 2 boys go to a middle school and high school that they surf once a week, and they are learning yachting, and it's part of the school curriculum, and there's those opportunities to do and to learn and do other things that interest you. You have a love for music, guess what? The schools have a megama, which is how do you, like a major, exactly,
Major.
in art, or in yachting, or you have all these, aside from just the scholastic majors, there's opportunity to develop the things that you love and enjoy, and the school day is short enough that they can actually do them as extracurricular things also. So overall, the schooling, they really adjusted almost immediately, and then the rest of the,
Beautiful. Paul, what do you got?
Just to touch on the point, you don't pay for school, or you pay very little, right? I'm not going to tell you what we pay, but it's really little. But you don't have a say. You have zero say, right? You can't walk into the school. You can't say on a Monday, I'm just going to walk into school. The schools have a guard, have a gate, and it's locked. And if you walk and you just go up to the gate, they'll just tell you, no, you can't come in. And then,
you have to have an appointment.
You have to have an appointment. You have to have a reason to go. You can't just show up to the principal and talk to them, because you have to make an appointment with them. You have to, there's a structure. So there is a give and take as far as the education is concerned. But again, like we said, you're not a customer. So,
But that's not to say, just to add on, that's not to say that parents are not involved in their schooling or the kids' education, or have meetings with the teachers and are on in a conversation with them. Israeli parents are very involved in their kids' schooling, and they're very involved in even the day-to-day. They're not running the school. I said we're not a customer. Right. It's a different relationship, but Israeli parents, and they're very involved.
Okay, so Paul, bring us home. So there were a lot of points that we wanted to address over here, but we have a stop in about 15 minutes. We want to bring the kids up. So
I think just one point I want to make. I know I don't know what it's like to move with toddlers, and I'm sure it's much easier. You don't have that emotional stuff that comes with older kids, but our oldest moved in 7th grade, and I think you said your oldest was in 8th at the time, and we know people who move with their kids are in high school, so if that's something that's concerning you, people do it all the time, and it's definitely not only it's more than doable. They'll do amazing. Thank God our daughter's flying. She had a great year. So yeah, it helps if the kids are younger, but it's not impossible if they're older. I just wanted to make that point. Also about the school, it's a completely different animal. You have to forget what you think the word school means and throw it out the window. And in some ways it's crazy, but it's not bad. I think it's a healthy way to be. Here, I used to get very upset. The kids would go on the bus at 8 o'clock in the morning. They would come home exhausted at 5 o'clock. Mad rush to get to DSN dance by 5:15. And there was no time to live. And here, so school, maybe they're not learning whatever, social studies, history, whatever it is that they would be learning here. But they do gain something by being in this different school environment. They have a lot of freedom. They have a lot of time outside. They have a lot of time being active. It's a very healthy lifestyle for the kids, and so that's something that I appreciate.
Okay, so at this time, I'd like to, actually before we bring up the kids, we're going to bring you up in 1 second, but before we bring up the kids, I want to know, is anybody here making Aliyah this year? Could you stand up so we can give you a round of applause? We got Sunny, we got Zeke, we got Dr. Waba. David, you're already standing up, so you could jump. Yeah, I love it. Well, good luck. We'll see you on the other side. Very excited. At this time, I'd like to bring up Abi Safdieh. I'd like to bring up David Chemtob, Jack Chemtob, Ray Shabot, and Sonia. I don't even need to say Sonia's last name. Guys, let's give it up for the panelists. And we really wanted to be on point with the time over here, because I know there are other things that are happening, but I'm going to be hanging out. I'm sure the panelists are going to be hanging out, so feel free to stop and ask us a bunch of questions. We'd love to chat with you guys. All right, so come and sit. Everyone's got a microphone. Abe, come sit over here.
No, I want him to sit next to me.
All right, these guys are the real heroes. All right, so we have Abi Safdieh over here. This is my boy. All right, so Abe, what is the best part about being a kid in Israel? Go ahead.
To be a Jew.
I love it. Yes, yes. Okay. And what do you like better in Israel than you do in America?
Everything is Jewish.
That everything. Wow. You really like being Jewish, huh? I love that answer. Okay, great. Okay, and tell us a little bit about some of the activities that you do, right? Because you only go to school for a few hours a day, and then afterwards you have a lot of things that you do during the day. So tell everybody about some of the cool things that you do in Israel that you didn't do here.
Skateboarding, Israeli baseball, and horseback riding, and Lego.
Lego, yeah, that's right. Okay, what do you get to do in Israel that you don't get to do as much here in America?
Walk around by myself.
That's right. He walks to school by himself. He walks to the store by himself. What's your favorite Golda flavor?
Chocolate and vanilla.
Does anybody know what Golda is? Everyone knows what Golda is, yeah? Okay. The gelato place? Okay, great. And Abe, if somebody was making Aliyah today, someone your age, what advice would you give him? It's a tough question. You can take a second.
Don't worry, don't be afraid, just go, because all the Jews are just waiting for you.
Incredible. Huh? Oh, ages. Abe is 8. Okay, we have David Chemtob.
Hi.
Remember when I met you?
What?
Just showed up at my house one day, this guy. Love this kid. David Chemtob, what's up, bro?
Good.
How you doing? You got even more tanned here than you did in Israel.
I know.
You did? Okay,
Black.
cool. All right. So, what do you remember? Okay, so David, what do you remember about moving to Israel when you were younger?
I remember leaving school one day, and when we arrived in Israel, we stayed at a small Airbnb, and it was very cramped, tiny apartment, and I just remember the air was just so great. It was so much different than what I had experienced before, and I just had so many American friends there that it was just great.
How old were you when you moved?
I was 5.
You're 5. Wow, you remember that when you were 5? It's pretty good. Were you? How old are you now?
13.
13. Just got bar mitzvah, guys. How's it tefillin every day? Is it hard?
It's okay.
Okay, it's cool. So at 5, you were cool with it. You just went with the flow.
Yeah,
It
I
didn't
was a
bother you
little
too
against
much.
it, but
Okay.
I got used to it.
Okay, cool. And speaking about your bar mitzvah, your family recently came, right? Your whole family came in.
Yeah.
Tell us a little about what you guys did.
So we stayed in Jerusalem for my bar mitzvah, and I showed them how I can walk around the streets alone and how much freedom you have there, and it's just a great place to be, and it's nothing like Brooklyn or Deal, and all year round it's just amazing weather, and it's a fun experience.
Did you feel cool, showing them around, you knew more than they did?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, right? I love it. Do you feel more American or more Israeli?
Probably more American because I speak to more Americans in Israel.
Okay.
But in America, I feel more Israeli because everybody only talks to me about being in Israel.
Got it.
And being Israeli.
That's great. And what's your favorite Israeli food?
Schnitzel and bread.
Could you say it like in Israeli?
Schnitzel b'nachmaniya.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. All right. Thank you, David. Jack, what's up, bro?
Hey, good.
How we doing?
Tired as normal.
Yeah, wow. I can't believe we're in the middle of a fast, right? You would never even know. We did this to kill some time. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the best part? How old are you and when did you move?
I'm currently 16. I moved back when I was I was about to turn 8.
What school were you in?
Here I was in Flatbush, and then I moved into REL school in Ra'anana.
Do you remember anything about Flatbush?
A decent bit, actually.
Yeah, you do? Okay.
I remember a few of my friends. I'm not in contact as much with them today, but I do still know them a decent bit.
Got it. Okay. So what's the best part about being a teenager in Israel?
The freedom that you have. You can go to different areas in town and just sort of talk to people. You don't have that whole overprotective parent in Brooklyn, where the streets are huge, you're not going to be able to get anywhere on your own. You know the area probably when you're a year or 2 in.
When you're here in Deal?
When you're in Deal.
How do you get around? You got to ask your parents to take you everywhere?
In Deal and in Brooklyn, yeah, your parents take you everywhere. It doesn't matter if it's a block away, it doesn't matter if it's the next, a whole 5-6 blocks away,
Right.
everywhere they would take you.
What's been the hardest adjustment?
The language. English and Hebrew have so many linguistic differences that changing from one to the other, even at like a young age, like 8 or 5, it's difficult, and it's still a problem for me today.
Okay. Walk us through a normal day.
I get up around like 6 o'clock, 6:30, get ready for school. What, 6:30?
Is Sonia laughing? What time do you wake up for school? Do we? She's like, what school? Yeah. Oh, this is the delinquents. Okay, so Jack, you wake up 6:30.
6:30.
Okay.
I get ready for the school. I get ready for school. I take a bit of breakfast, and I get on my bike around like 7 o'clock, and I bike to school.
Are you in surf school also?
I'm also in surf school. Yes.
Cool. That really is a thing, guys. There is a school called Surf School where they do surf. Okay.
Not called that, but yeah.
We call it surf school.
You guys call it surf school, yeah. After school, I usually head home. I'm normally pretty tired, so I just head up to my room, and then sometime around like 4 or 5 o'clock, I have different after-school programs that I go to, like music or CrossFit or football. Like I have a lot of different programs to go to.
Okay. David, we didn't ask you, what hugim do you do?
I used to do basketball. Now I only do football. I have an English class during the week. My old schedule was a mess. It was basketball, English, and football all in the same 3 hours.
Crazy. Okay. All right, so Jack, last question for you. Or two more questions. What advice would you give to a teenager preparing to make Aliyah?
Don't be afraid. If anything, just accept it. If you're going to have a struggle, yes, but the amount of struggle that you have for the payout that you're going to get as a teenager here in Israel, it's a big difference.
Cool.
Like it's not much of an issue academically because in America they have a bit more like a, how do I explain it? Like from America to Israel, the education in America is like a lot more superior, so it's not going to be difficult to move academically,
right.
And don't be afraid to try to make friends.
Right. Get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, get out of your comfort zone. People are going to appreciate you for who you are.
Cool. And beach or mall?
I go to the beach every single week. I'm going to choose beach.
It's great beaches.
Great beaches.
Yeah. Renana is 18 minutes from Herzliya Beach, so it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. All right. Ray Shabot.
How you doing?
What's up, man?
Good.
You know,
I'm good.
You're a tackle football guy, right?
I am.
So one thing I just wanted to bring to everyone's attention, that two things exist in Israel that you might not have thought: tackle football, and then baseball. Yeah. So it's pretty cool for anybody. Oh, you play baseball also?
I do play baseball.
Sorry, we didn't play you yet. I mean, my son's also 8, so we probably never will play you. But you know, so we ever come to Ezra Klein Field by us?
Yeah.
It's a good field.
Softball with the Renana community.
Did I say Ezra Klein? Ezra Klein is the New York Times. Oh man, the Ezra Schwartz Field. Okay, cool. So Ray, question for you. You're in your final year of high school now?
Yeah, I just graduated last year.
Oh, you graduated
this past year. I graduated.
This past year. Okay, what are your plans? What's happening next?
So most of kids my age, they do about a year, 2 year gap years before they go to the army. So I'm planning on going to yeshiva in Bruchin. It's somewhere. I don't really know how to explain it. It's a pretty random place. But I'm going to yeshiva there.
What is it next to?
Ariel.
Okay. It's in Israel somewhere, we're assuming.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You'll figure it out.
All right.
Most of my friends are also, they're going to yeshiva or mechina. It's basically you do a year of preparation for the army with a little learning sprinkled in. And that's basically it. Nobody really goes to the army. Maybe about 10 to 15 kids out of my grade of about 160 kids are going to the army right after high school. So.
Got it. Do you know what you want to do in the army?
Not yet, no, but I'm definitely going to be a combat soldier, hopefully. Hopefully be somewhere elite.
Wow, amazing. And what does that training look like?
Sorry?
What does that training look like to become a combat soldier?
let's just say I haven't started yet. I'm still more in my football shape than my army shape.
I love it. Okay, cool. When did you? How old are you? And when did you make Aliyah?
Right now I'm 17. I'm turning 18 in September, and I made Aliyah when I was a little under 3.
Under 3. Okay, so you've been there. Okay.
Yeah, I'm basically Israeli.
Okay. And as you're preparing for this next step, like what are you and your friends talking about specifically with the army? Are you guys afraid? You excited?
So, most of the army talk has really been in more of 10th, 11th grade, and because that's at that age, you're getting the Tzav Rishon, which is the letter from the army that you have to show up at their office and they check you, they check your body, your mentality, whatever, your everything, and they put you in the system. Right. So that was in 10th and 11th grade. So 12th grade really is more about what you're going to do next year, which, like I said, is going to be yeshiva, mechina, whatever you want to do before the army.
I know you may not have the answer to this question, but you mentioned that only 20 kids are going direct into the army next year. Everyone else is kind of doing a gap year before they go. Is that standard for all of Israel, or it depends on where you live?
It really depends on your religious aspect, I want to say. A lot of, in the Dati Leumi community, which is the religious, I don't really know how to explain it.
Religious Zionists?
Yeah, religious Zionists. Yeah. I want to say maybe 80% of people do a gap year. Okay. I made this number up, it's just my guess. In the secular community, it's a more down, I'm sure. But a lot of people also do gap years. They have mechina, it's for chilonim. They have a lot of areas where you can do a gap year.
What is one of the coolest things you've done with your friends?
I wouldn't say it's one of like the coolest things, but the coolest thing about Israel that I found that I can do with my friends is really you can go to a lot of places, and there's a lot of nature everywhere. Like with my friends, for example, my friend could just call me and be like, I'm outside your house, come in my car, and we just drive to a Ma'ayan 15 minutes away, and there's always new places and hikes to do. Yeah. Like, I don't think I've been on the same hike twice. There's always something new to do with your friends.
Cool. What's your favorite Hebrew word or phrase?
It's gotta be leitzan. It means clown, and I have 3 younger siblings, so I get to use it a lot in my day-to-day life.
How's tackle football?
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah?
It's best thing on earth.
You ever play against Ronnie Sassoon or no? Yeah?
Oh yeah, he plays for Ramat Hasharon, no? And this year he played for Raptors, no?
Yeah.
So I played with. I didn't play against him this year, but last year I did. I think I remember. I don't know.
All right, we'll put you guys head to head next time. We'll see who comes out on top. All right.
I think I know who's gonna win. No shots fired.
All right, cool. Thank you, Ray. Sonia.
Hi, guys.
She was our surprise. All right, Sonia, I'm going to have to recycle some questions over here because I didn't expect you to be with us here. Okay, so how old are you? And when did you make Aliyah?
I'm 18. I made Aliyah when I was 13 in January 2021.
And what has been the best part of your Aliyah experience so far?
The past 2 years.
Tell us about it.
I don't know, I've just been living life more, going to the beach, going out with everyone.
I see you ordering Walt late at night, too. I'm not watching. I'm saying when I'm hanging with David, I see like the Walt guy coming at 11:30 at night with like Chinese food.
Yes, I order a lot also.
And bubble tea, no? Bubble tea?
No.
No, you don't do bubble tea? Boba tea. I'm sorry, my kids would kill me if I said bubble tea. I should know better. Okay, so what was the hardest adjustment that you had moving to Israel?
The Hebrew, the school. I'm making friends also. Yeah.
And how long did it take for you to get in that flow? When did you start to feel like things were working?
High school, after the war. I really got used to it a lot, and I felt more comfortable.
What does a normal day look like for you?
Okay, with school or without?
Let's do with school.
Okay, so I'd wake up. I'll go to school for like 2 hours and I'll leave.
Just a normal day.
Yeah, the teachers don't show up or we don't show up, so it kind of works out. I go to the gym, go out to eat.
What's your favorite restaurant?
Pashutaim has to be my first.
That's a good place.
I had a job there too for like 2
Didn't you work there for one day? It was 2 weeks. Okay.
It was 2 days.
Okay. So
For lunch, what? Favorite place?
then I'm saying you'll go for lunch.
I'll go for lunch. I'll go to Tel Aviv. I'll make a day, and then I come home and I don't know, don't do anything. I cook a lot too.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you feel more American, more Israeli? A mix of both?
Not Israeli. I'm more American.
Okay.
But all my friends are American.
Right. And what advice would you give to a teenager preparing to make Aliyah?
Just do it. It's worth it.
Amazing.
It's worth it for the future.
And what are you doing now that you graduated?
I'm doing Shur Leumi in Jerusalem.
Can you tell everyone what that is?
It's national service for girls. Yeah,
So what might you end up doing in Jerusalem?
I am working in a school, an elementary school, a small school like Barkai.
Cool.
Yeah.
Amazing. When does that start?
September 1st.
Okay. Very exciting. Yeah. Oh, I'll let you speak about that. But one last question. Favorite Israeli food?
It has to be the shawarma.
Yeah.
Finally, I was waiting for someone to say. Come on, what are we doing
Is
here?
that what you would answer?
Me?
Yeah, shawarma.
You can ask my parents. I'm at shawarma Abu Ghosh and Modin at least twice a week.
Okay.
At least twice a week.
I guess we'll run through everybody. So you're saying shawarma. Falafel. Okay. Did you try the new place that opened up, Dabush? We love that place. That's our spot. Okay.
I don't think I've
Oh, it's
tried it
amazing. All right, falafel. You said schnitzel. What's your favorite food, bro?
Like an Israeli food?
Yeah, Israeli food. Falafel. Okay. And I'm going to close it out and say I'm on the schnitzel train. So, thank you everyone for coming. I have Sari who's just going to mention one quick thing about this exhibit we have over here. Thank you all for coming, and feel free to stop by and chat with us. We'd love to give you more.
One last thing. My niece Rochelle